8 spine-chilling hotel horror stories. Doors that shouldn't open, sinister secrets revealed. Ella's heart raced as she stood in the crumbling lobby of the Monarch Hotel, the very name sending chills down her spine. The unkempt carpet beneath her feet sagged as if harboring long-held secrets. With 6-year-old Lily clinging to her side, Ella couldn't shake the overwhelming feeling that they had stepped into a trap. The flickering lights overhead buzzed like angry bees, casting bizarre shadows that seemed to twitch and dance across the walls. The atmosphere was thick with a suffocating tension, whispering the possibility that they would discover things better left undiscovered. "Mommy, I don't like it here," Lily said, her wide eyes scanning the room, searching for safety. Ella crouched to meet her gaze, forcing a smile to mask her own rising dread. "It's just a little old, sweet pea. We'll be fine." But as Ella approached the check-in counter, the hotel manager, Mr. Dawson, greeted them from the dimness, his smile disarming yet unsettling. His eyes shimmered with an intensity that felt more predatory than welcoming. "Welcome. You must be in need of some peace. This hotel has a rich history," he purred, his voice smooth like honey but thick with something darker. A chill rolled over Ella, despite the warmth of his invitation. What kind of history called for such a rundown establishment? Shaking off the apprehension, she exchanged the last of her cash for a room key, wanting desperately for this trip to turn their luck around. They trudged up the aging staircase, carved wood groaning under their weight, each step feeling like a final descent into a haunting tale. That night, as shadows crept around the room, an eerie quiet descended. Lily nestled under the thin blanket, her small body wrapped up tight. Ella sat at the edge of the bed, her senses heightened. That S when she heard it, a soft whisper slicing through the silence, barely audible yet piercing, like a memory clawing its way back. Lily's voice broke through the murmur. "I heard something. It's probably just the wind," Ella said, but even she could hear the uncertainty in her voice. Then there were the doors, creaking open just a fraction, like a mouth slowly revealing secrets long kept. Each creak sliced through her nerve. Lily curled closer, the darkness enveloping them. Suddenly, she launched herself into Ella's lap, her little voice trembling. "There are monsters here, Mommy. I can feel them." In a desperate attempt to soothe both herself and Lily, Ella explored the tiny room, her hands brushing against the peeling wallpaper. The dampness of the wooden floorboards felt like the hotel itself was breathing, alive with stories it wanted to share, but did it want to share them with her? With a jolt, she noticed something poking out from under the loose floorboard. An old newspaper clipping. She pulled it free, only for the dim light to reveal a chilling headline detailing a string of vanishings that had plagued the very town they were in. The last reported disappearance happened right near the hotel. "And no," Ella gasped, the paper trembling in her hands as fear coiled around her heart. What kind of refuge had she brought her daughter into? Just then, Mr. Dawson appeared in the doorway, his smile now an unsettling grin. "Everything okay, ladies?" His demeanor had shifted to something more sinister. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Ella's breath quickened as icy sweat trickled down her spine. His eyes, hollow yet watchful, felt like chains pulling her toward a dreadful truth. She held Lily tighter, feeling the heat radiating from her small body, a reminder of everything she had to protect. Shadows closed in, long fingers reaching from the darkness, and for a moment, she felt consumed by the weight of their solitude. "Lily, stay close," Ella whispered, just before the hotel lights flickered violently, the air around them thick with foreboding. A door down the hall creaked wide open, the darkness beyond gaping like a hungry maw, daring her to step closer and discover what awaited within. Would venturing forth unveil salvation or seal their fate? The anxiety gnawed fiercely, and with Lily's soft whimper echoing in her ears, Ella's resolve wavered at the threshold of terror. Ella's heart hammered like a drum as the shadows twisted and morphed in the flickering light. She could feel the weight of the hotel's eyes, watching, waiting, almost relishing her fear. The creak of the door down the hall seemed to taunt her, a beckoning call into the depths of the unknown. She caught a glimpse of Lily's frightened face, her innocence an unbearable burden amid the growing dread. "Mommy," Lily whimpered, her grip tightening around Ella's waist. "I don't want to stay here. I want to go home." The words sliced through Ella like a cold blade. How could this place feel more alive than the two of them, more sinister than any monster her daughter could imagine? And yet they had no choice. They were trapped in this broken fortress of a hotel, haunted by its unspoken history. "Just a little longer," Ella reassured Lily, her voice trembling despite her best effort. "Let us look around. Maybe there's a way out." With a hesitant nod, Lily reluctantly followed her mother to the door, hesitant yet trusting. Ella pushed it open, stepping into the dim hallway illuminated only by the scattered light from the flickering bulbs overhead. Each step echoed ominously, and the air turned heavy, thick with an unshakable gloom. As they moved further down the hall, a stain on the floral wallpaper caught Ella's eye, a dark splotch, as if something had been forcibly removed. Shudders ran through her body. She forced her gaze ahead, trying to block out the creeping sensation that they were being hunted. Suddenly, a loud bang reverberated from behind them, causing Ella to whip around. Her pulse raced as she found the door they had just exited standing wide open, the shadows spilling out like a dark gel, eager to swallow them whole. "Mommy!" Lily's voice cracked like fragile glass. Before Ella could respond, a distant, melodic laughter echoed down the corridor, chilling her bones. It was an almost childlike giggle, light and airy, yet distinctly wrong. Her heart dropped. Instinct screamed at her to run, yet something invisible tethered her to the spot. "Mommy, please, let us go back." But something urged Ella onward, a morbid curiosity intertwining with her instincts. She dragged Lily deeper into the abyss of the hotel. The walls seemed to sway slightly as if they were breathing with life, the very essence of this place pulsating with dread. That I end their entangled journey, they passed several doors. Each bore a number, and each whispered stories into the air around them, tales that clawed at her resolve. She stopped abruptly at room 217. Its door frame was splintered, the paint peeling away as if it had been trying to escape. "Mommy, please." Lily tugged at her shirt, wide-eyed. Ella swallowed hard, her stomach turning. "Let us just take a quick look," she managed, though her voice wavered. She pressed her ear against the splintered wood. Silence. Then the soft sound of a heartbeat. It wasn't her own. "Don't," Lily begged softly, but Ella couldn't move. She pushed the door open slowly, anxiety coursing through her veins. The room beyond was plunged into darkness. "Hello?" she called out, her voice barely above a whisper. A chilling breeze rushed past her, wrapping around her like ice. Suddenly, a figure stood in the far corner, illuminated by a pale, ghostly light. A silhouette, its features hidden in shadow, but the unmistakable shape of a child standing still, staring directly at them. "Come play," came the voice, echoing through the pitch blackness. Ella froze. "Mommy, please let us go." But Ella found herself slipping, entranced by the beckoning shadow. Just as she began to step forward, a loud crash erupted from below, like thunder shaking the very foundation of the hotel. "Get back," she shouted, yanking Lily away just as the ground trembled beneath them. The force of the sound sent shivers through their bones. "It's the hotel, it knows we're here," Ella whispered, her eyes darting around, searching for an escape. They turned abruptly, sprinting back down the hallway toward their room, the laughter trailing behind them, growing louder, echoing off the walls. With Lily at her side, Ella raced into the safety of their room, slamming the door shut. She pressed her back against it, breathing hard. But the oppressive darkness remained, pressing in from all sides. A low, sinister voice murmured through the door, taunting. You can't hide. Fear pulsed through Ella's veins as she lowered herself to the floor, clutching Lily tightly. With a sense of impending doom, she wondered. Would they be able to escape this nightmare, or would the hotel claim them next? The question lingered like poison in the air as the darkness closed in. The door rattled as the voice grew louder, malicious whispers crawling through the wood, searching for a way in. Ella's heart raced, the once comforting room morphing into a claustrophobic prison. The shadows whispered secrets, weaving tales of despair and doom. Lily clung to her, eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. "What do we do, Mommy?" she squeaked, her small voice trembling. "We wait," Ella managed, though every fiber in her being screamed for action. Turning her gaze toward the windows, she could see the flickering lights of the city, so distant from the horror in which they found themselves. Outside looked eerily calm, a stark contrast to the suffocating dread encasing them. Suddenly, another loud bang echoed through the air, followed by a low, pained groan that felt as if it came from deep within the hotel's very foundation. Ella's body reacted before her mind caught up, her instincts driving her to grab Lily and retreat into the corner of the room, away from the door. "Stay quiet," she whispered as her eyes darted around, searching for anything that could help them. Framed pictures hung lopsided on the walls, and a tattered armchair sat pathetically in the corner, as if forgotten. Dust motes floated in the dim light, lazily spinning images of the past haunting their present. A soft thump resonated from the other side of the door. Ella held her breath, and Lily bit down on her knuckles, tightly suppressing a sob. Would the hotel swallow them whole? The sinister force outside felt relentless, as if it could taste their fear, savoring each moment they lingered in its grasp. "Mommy, I want to go home." Lily's plea hung between them like a fragile whisper. "I know, sweetheart. I know," Ella said, her voice barely a fraction above a whisper. The doorknob rattled again. This time, it was accompanied by a faint, childlike giggle echoing like a twisted lullaby, promising sweet release mingled with unspeakable horror. The hotel groaned, almost breathing with amusement. "Come play," the voice called again, this time sweeter, almost tempting. Desperation wrapped around Ella's heart. She had to do something. "We can't just wait here," she breathed, urging herself to stand. "We need to find a way out." Ella crept toward the door, feeling every inch of movement like a live wire. Her fingertips brushed against the cold metal knob. Another shudder ran through the door, and an eerie silence engulfed them, a quietness thick with unseen tension. "Don't open it," Lily cried, panic rising in her voice. "I have to," Ella murmured, her heart hammering. She had to know what awaited them outside those walls, whether it was salvation or the abyss. Swallowing her fear, she twisted the knob carefully, a dread coil tightening around her throat. Before she could swing the door open, a deafening crash erupted from the floor above, thundering through the hotel like an angry beast. They both jumped, eyes wide in terror as the lights flickered ominously. Dust poured from the ceiling, and Ella felt the very floor beneath her tremble as if they were not alone. Something was coming. "Mommy!" Lily's frightened eyes darted to the shadows creeping toward them. They were darker now, seeming to stretch and reach like ghostly fingers searching for prey. Ella slammed the door shut and quickly pushed a nearby dresser against it, hoping it would hold. "We need to hide," she urged, grabbing Lily's hand. They crawled beneath the bed, the darkness wrapping around them like a shroud. The laughter returned, echoing through the hotel, bouncing off the walls, enveloping them in its sinister embrace. It sounded closer now, almost above them, taunting, beckoning. "Let us play," the voice sing-songed, chillier than any wind. "What does it want?" Lily's voice was small, shaking with fear. Ella pressed a finger against her lips, anxious to listen, heart thundering in her ears. The crescendo of laughter grew, a haunting symphony of the damned, playing in their private nightmare. But just as hope began to fade into despair, something shifted in the darkness. A soft, ghostly light peeked from under the door, swelling, pulsing. Something was coming, and it was not just a voice. "Mommy," Lily whimpered, Ella's breath caught in her throat as the light began to flicker, expanding, illuminating their hiding place. It was time to face whatever awaited them, or resign themselves to the shadows forever. What stood at the threshold was unknown, but Ella felt it somewhere deep within the hotel's menacing grasp. A secret was waiting to be unearthed. She clutched Lily close. On the count of 3, we move no matter what. Would they step into the light, or would the shadows welcome them home? The light flickered again, more intense now, casting ghastly shadows that danced on the walls. Ella's heart thumped violently, each beat a reminder of the terror that loomed just beyond the door. The greedy darkness seemed to swallow the light, pulling it back like a secret kept from prying eyes. "Mommy, I'm scared," Lily whispered, her voice trembling as she squeezed Ella's hand tighter. It felt as if the very air thickened around them, stifling any hope. "Me too, sweetheart. But we have to be brave." Ella's voice cracked, but she needed Lily to hold on to a glimmer of courage. They needed a plan, something beyond just waiting for the unknown to claim them. Ella exchanged a glance at the dresser barricading the door. It was flimsy against the horror pounding from beyond. They had no time to waste. She swallowed hard and whispered, "On 3, then we make a dash for the windows. Okay?" Lily nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks, her innocence tainted by fear. They had to escape this wretched place. She could feel it in her bones. 1, 2, 3. Ella counted, urgency fueling her. They scrambled out from under the bed, the moment stretching into eternity. As they moved, the light beyond the door pulsed again, bright enough to illuminate the room around them but fading quickly. Ella could feel the air shift as if a storm were brewing. Then came the laughter, sharp and bright, echoing with a childlike malice that turned her blood cold. Come out wherever you are." Ella's pulse quickened. They had lingered too long. She bolted for the window, fingers fumbling with the latch, desperately pushing against it. "Mommy, we can't." Lily's voice quivered behind her, a warning that felt utterly helpless in the face of the encroaching horror. But Ella couldn't stop. She flung the window open with a loud creak that squealed like a wounded animal. Fresh air hit their faces, filling her with a fleeting sense of hope. "Jump!" Ella shouted, but as she turned to help Lily, she froze, horror washing over her. The dresser slid away from the door as if drawn by an unseen force. The door creaked open, revealing an ominous darkness that swallowed everything in its path. The giggling grew louder, swirling into a frenzy of tortured joy that echoed off the walls. "Let us play. Let us play," it chanted, a cruel melody that burrowed deep into Ella's mind. "What do we do?" Lily cried, eyes wide with terror, her small body trembling. Just then, Ella spotted a flash, something darting across the room, glimmering briefly in the flickering light. A silver object, glinting like hope, lay near the edge of the bed. In a moment of clarity, she lunged for it, grabbing the cold metal knife, a pathetic weapon against whatever was in their midst. "What's that?" Lily whispered, fear twisting around her words like a noose. "It's just it'll help us. I promise," Ella responded, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. The laughter swelled, raucous and terrifying, and she could feel the shadows inching closer, hungry for their fear. But the light, the pale glow shifted again, revealing more of the room, more of what awaited them. Tension crackled in the air as Ella's instincts screamed for her to fight, to protect her child before they were lost to the darkness. "Stay behind me," Ella warned, brandishing the knife in front of her. A soft coo echoed from the doorway, mesmerizing, beckoning come play, urging her to drop the blade, to join the nightmare that awaited. The walls trembled as the shadows danced, swirling into grotesque shapes. A gust knocked into Ella, nearly sending her off balance. She steadied herself, heart racing in a primal rhythm as she felt the air thicken around them. Then, with instinct equal to maternal fury, she shouted, "I won't let you take us." And then, everything changed. A low rumble sounded from the hotel itself, an angry groan from the depths of the foundation. Ella realized with dread that the hotel wasn't just a building. It was alive, a twisted entity that relished in the fear it created. Suddenly, the giggles turned into shrieks, piercing the air like shattered glass, a cacophony of despair. Was this the end? Would they succumb when destiny paused at the threshold? Or could they fight their way through this? Mommy! Ella looked down at Lily's terrified expression. Two choices hung in the air like the weight of the moment. Would they sprint into the unknown and risk everything, or stand their ground as the hotel closed in? Before she could decide, a chilling whisper slithered into her ear. Just one more game. With the knife quaking in her grip, she knew the choice would leave repercussions. Were they ready to uncover the deeply buried truth of the hotel? And whatever awaited them beyond that door, would it unleash hell or offer salvation? As the shadows loomed closer, Ella felt the weight of the inescapable truth. They could either be hunters or the hunted. She pushed down her fear, steeling herself against the approaching darkness. On 3, we make our choice, but would they emerge into freedom, or would the shadows claim their souls? Ella's heart slammed in her chest as she eyed the door, the knife trembling in her hand. Time slowed. The shadows writhed and twisted, pushing against the edges of her sanity. The giggling morphed into whispers, enticing yet grotesque. Behind her, Lily clung to her, small and fragile, her presence anchoring Ella in this nightmare. Just one more game, the voice echoed, sweet like poison. Ella swallowed the lump in her throat. She couldn't let the darkness take control. Remember, Lily, Ella said, forcing the words out through clenched teeth. You're the bravest girl in the world. We can get through this. Mommy, I don't want to play anymore, Lily whimpered, her voice barely a whisper, each syllable drenched in fear, with the flickering light casting grotesque figures around them. Ella turned to the window. Freedom lay just outside, but so did uncharted danger. The fear of the unknown clawed at her, driving her heart faster. On 3, Ella repeated, we run. We jump. We do it together. Lily's nod was almost imperceptible. Yet Ella saw the fire of determination flicker behind her wide, terrified eyes. 1, 2, 3. They dashed for the window, the laughter morphing into a chorus of jeers that clawed at their sanity. The shadows surged forward, a tide of darkness seeking to ensnare them, to pull them back into its nightmarish embrace. Faster! Ella shouted, lungs burning with exertion. She could feel the oppressive weight of the hotel's energy pushing against her, almost tangibly wrapping around her as they reached the window's edge. Lily stumbled, and Ella whirled back, gripping her daughter's arm tightly. Go! Climb! Ella urged, the glint of the knife clutched precariously in her other hand. She kicked a leg over the sill, the world outside becoming a blur of swirling night. Help me, Mommy! Lily cried, her small hands grappling at the ledge. The darkness laughed louder, shredding the tension like paper. Ella could feel it seep into her skin, a cold dread spreading through her thoughts like ink. Jump, Lily! With one final push, Ella grasped Lily around the waist and propelled them both outward. Time warped as they mattered not. The sharp night air tore at their faces, but the ground rushed to meet them. They landed hard, jarring up Ella's bones while the thick night enveloped them like a suffocating blanket. She gasped for breath, scanning their surroundings in frantic bursts of light that flicked through the trees. Mommy, what is happening? Lily's voice, small and anxious, broke her concentration. I don't know, Lily, but we need to move. We can't stay here. Ignoring the burning in her limbs, Ella shoved them both to their feet. They stumbled forward, the grip of the hotel's unsettling atmosphere still clinging to them like a long, twisted shadow. Adrenaline surged, pushing her to grip Lily's hand tighter. A lifeline in the void. A chorus of laughter floated through the air, chilling her blood. We're not done playing yet. The trees around them twisted into impossibly dark forms, menacing figures that whispered secrets she couldn't bear to understand. Ella pressed on, each step heavier than the last. Her breath quickened as sudden doubt slashed through her mind. What if they hadn't escaped at all? What if the shadows followed? They continued to run, panic fueling them, until Lily suddenly halted. Mommy, look! Ella followed her gaze to a pulsating crimson light ahead. Cut through the night like a beacon, but a beacon of what? Don't stop. We have to. Ella stumbled. The words caught in her throat as she approached the light. Her instincts screamed for her to turn back, but something about that vibrant glow tugged at her like an unspooled thread. Mommy? Lily's voice trembled beside her. Step back. Ella ordered instinctively, raising the knife. But curiosity overcame her hesitation. What lay beyond the inexplicable light? Answers? A way out? Or would it invite them deeper into the jaws of horror? Another chilling laugh echoed through the trees, sending a shiver down her spine. Just one game, that's all we need. The light flickered, moments, stretching, urging them closer. Ella fought against the urge to step forward, battling the pull of treachery. As the earth beneath them began to rumble ominously, Ella realized. The hotel wouldn't let them go that easily. What are we going to do, Mommy? And as the shadows circled, a terrible realization dawned on her. To escape wasn't enough. They needed to confront whatever controlled this nightmare. Could they brave the unknown and unravel the dark secret hidden within? Or would it swallow them whole like so many before? Before she could answer, the light blinked out, plunging them into a choking abyss. Ella grabbed Lily's hand, terror entwining with resolve. The hunt was far from over. The silence pressed down around them, heavy and suffocating. Ella held her breath, her heart pounding in her ears. The darkness was absolute, not a single flicker of light to guide them. Panic surged again, wrapping around her throat like a noose. Lily, she whispered, dread creeping into her voice. Here, Mommy, came the small, shaky reply, but Ella couldn't see her. Her hand tightened around the knife, a feeble comfort against the unknown lurking in the void. They had made it out, but were they truly free? The hotel had refused to let go, and now the forest felt like a trap. Stick close, Ella urged, inching forward, her other hand extended to find Lily. We can't stay still. We need to move, find a way to. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. A low rumble echoed, and then a scream erupted from the trees, a sound that shattered the eerie silence like glass. Ella froze, her blood running cold as something unseen shifted in the shadowy depths, looming ever closer. Mommy? Lily's voice quaked with fear. I'm right here, Ella whispered, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. Stay close. But as she edged forward, the noise grew a cacophony of ghostly laughter intermingled with monstrous growls. Otherworldly whispers spun around them, pulling at her mind with seductive promises, all woven with the thread of a game she couldn't comprehend. Not yet, a voice screeched, echoing in the distance. You have to play first. Ella's stomach tightened. What game was there to play? She didn't recognize her world anymore, and each step deeper into the forest felt like a descent into madness. We have to find a way out. We can't play their game. But the forest twisted at her thoughts, sucking her into its wicked rhythm. Trees loomed in grotesque shapes, gaping mouths formed from bark, eyes from knots that seemed to follow her every move. Chilling laughter flicked through the branches like shadows, a mocking reminder of their predicament. Look, Lily pointed, her voice a thread above the terror surrounding them. Ella squinted into the darkness and saw something glimmers of light flickering through the trees, but it flickered too, as if it breathed. Gradually, it pulled her like a moth towards a flame. The warmth of it promised answers, connection, even a way home. No, Ella shook her head fiercely. That's a trap. We can't go there. Yet her feet betrayed her, drawn toward that beckoning glow. Lily gripped her hand harder, eyes wide with dread. Mommy, please let us go back. Back to where? That hotel still owns us. Ella snapped, her heart racing. Then, a whispered taunt rang out, sinister and clear. You still haven't completed the game. Fury and fear twisted in her chest. I don't want to play, she screamed, and the forest responded with a deafening roar that shook the ground beneath them. The trees seemed to writhe, leaning closer, ready to engulf them. Lily, run. Without another thought, Ella yanked her daughter to her side and bolted. They pounded through the tangled underbrush, branches whipping at their skin, the laughter echoing behind them like angry spirits. But then, The ground split open beneath their feet, a gaping maw of darkness, pulling at their ankles with insatiable hunger. Ella screamed and leaped back, falling hard into the damp soil. "Mommy!" Lily's shout was piercing. Ella turned, horror constricting her throat, as she watched her little girl teeter on the edge, her eyes wide with terror. "Don't move, sweetheart," Ella shouted, her heart racing as she scrambled to her feet. But the abyss opened wider, inviting them down into its dark embrace. Desperation clawed at Ella as she lunged for Lily, the shadows lapping hungrily at her feet. In that moment, she realized the gravity of their plight. They weren't only fighting to escape. They were battling a darkness that thrived on fear and chaos. As night closed in, laughter roared back stronger, drowning out their cries. Just one more game because it's so much fun. And with that, the world around them twisted, ready to swallow their souls whole. What awaited them in that glowing light? Would they dare confront the nightmares that lay in wait? Ella felt the forest breathe, a sinister pulse ready to challenge her heart's resolve. In the depths of the night, their fate hung in the balance. Would they emerge from the shadow? Or was there only the beginning of a game they could never escape? The darkness engulfed them as Ella reached for Lily, the weight of desperation surging through her veins. Gritting her teeth, she lunged, grasping her daughter's wrist just as the abyss threatened to pull Lily into its depths. The cold seeped into her bones as they tumbled back, hitting the ground with a whispered thud. "Mommy, I saw something," Lily gasped, pulling away slightly, her eyes darting toward the flickering glow that danced just ahead. "No, we can't look at it. We have to keep moving," Ella urged, terror coiling inside her. Still holding Lily's hand tightly, she pulled her up and staggered backward, drawing them further from the void. But the forest had other plans. It seemed to seep closer, the shadows thickening as if alive. The ground quaked again, a dissonant symphony of groans and rattles that sent a chill racing up Ella's spine. "Play with us," the voice sang, echoing all around. It was neither male nor female, but something in between, draped in malice and sweet promises. "No," Ella shouted, panic blooming. She could feel the forest, the vibrations of its malice shuddering through her. She turned to Lily, whose eyes had turned glassy, drawn to the glow still flickering through the trees. "We have to go. Now." They stumbled over roots and rocks, limbs reaching out like skeletal hands, clawing at them as they pressed on through the darkness. The laughter followed, a cruel reminder of the game they didn't dare play. "You'll never escape. You'll have to play, dear mother." With every second, the pulsing light beckoned, a heartbeat of temptation that threatened to rip them apart. Ella risked a glance back. A shadow, darker than the night itself, slithered closer. It was relentless, a predator stalking its prey. "Mommy, I can't run anymore," Lily whimpered, her breath coming in terrified gasps. "No, no," Ella urged, fear clawing at her. "We have to find a way through." But then something shifted. The air thickened, oppressive, almost suffocating. Every shadow now seemed to dance, twisting around them, wrapping tighter and tighter. The laughter grew loud, resonating deep within her mind, chaos brewing in symphonic frenzy. "Join us," the voice teased again, almost playful. Ellis willed herself to focus, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. She wanted to scream, to tear apart the very fabric of this nightmare. "I won play. I refuse." Suddenly, the trees began to crack and seam, morphing into grotesque faces that twisted into mockery. Each laugh felt like a knife slicing through her resolve. "Just remember, Ella." Another voice joined in a familiar timbre that sent a shiver down her spine. "To win the game, you must sacrifice something dear." "No," Ella cried, her legs trembling as her grasp on Lily tightened. She could barely think. Her mind raced through the spirals of horror that filled the dark, whispering abyss surrounding them. But amidst the chaos, one thought echoed louder than the rest. Just keep moving. Fear was not their ally. Survival was. Then, just ahead, she saw a break in the trees, a small clearing where the flickering light pulsed faster now, calling to her with an urgency. There, Ella shouted. We have to reach that spot. As they darted toward the glow, thorns reached out and snagged Ella's arm, tearing through her skin. She grit her teeth, ignoring the pain, forcing her body forward. The laughter crescendoed, a chaotic whirlwind of sound that felt like hands grasping tightly, determined to pull them back. Suddenly, the light flared brighter. Ella slowed, bewildered, blinking against the brightness that spilled into the darkness like liquid gold. A gut instinct urged her to turn back, a warning against stepping into that light. She hesitated, fighting against the urge to succumb. But Lily, drawn by curiosity, broke from her grasp. "Mommy, look," she squealed, her voice filled with wonder. "No, wait," Ella screamed, lunging forward, but the forest roared again, engulfing them. Time felt like it halted. Only panic rushed on. "Ella," the deep voice called, almost affectionate but laced with danger. "You can have what you want, but at a cost." And in the blink of an eye, the light exploded in a blinding flash. Everything was chaos: screams, laughter, shadows twisting, merging in a chaotic ballet. What price would they pay as they dove into that light? Would it be freedom or their ultimate doom? And just like that, the laughter ceased, leaving only a haunting silence that draped over the forest, more terrifying than any scream. What awaited Ella and Lily on the other side? Would they become part of the darkness or find a way to fight back? The world around them shifted abruptly. One moment they were enveloped in darkness, and the next, the blinding light swallowed them whole. Ella shielded her eyes, but the brilliance was suffocating. A wave of overwhelming warmth and invasive sound crashing over her. Then it vanished. The temperature dropped sharp, like stepping into a cold shower, and an eerie stillness settled in. Ella blinked, trying to adjust, scanning for Lily. Lily? The name echoed in the unnatural silence. She felt her heart pounding in her throat, each beat a frantic reminder of the space between them. "Over here," Lily's voice squeaked, tremulous but present. Ella whirled around to face the stark reality they found themselves in. They stood in an expansive room, bland and sterile. Felt wrong. The walls were pale, devoid of color, and sterile white tiles stretched underfoot. A strange hum resonated through the air, and the fluorescent lights blinked intermittently, their buzzing a sinister reminder of the light they had just escaped. Lily stood in the center of the room, mouth agape, eyes wide, staring at something Ella couldn't see. "Mommy, look." "No, don't look." Ella felt that instinctual tug, the fear warning her as the darkness whispered in her ears. "Don't look at anything. Baby, we have to find a way out." But Lily smiled with innocent wonder. She pointed toward a transparent barrier at the far side of the room. A large window, perhaps. Ella's breath caught in her throat. What could be on the other side? The forest? Or something worse? Treading cautiously, she moved closer, Lily bound to her side, captivated by the view beyond. Whale on a sinking ship, Ella felt the urge to protect, even as she recoiled from the unknown. As they approached, the air thickened, a foul odor trickling through. It was like stagnant water mixed with burnt wires. Standing before the barrier, their reflections appeared, disjointed, warped. But there was something else. Shapes shifted in the dark just beyond the glass. Did someone stand behind it? Ella squinted, feeling dread crawling up her spine. The shapes moved with a grace that felt predatory. She turned to Lily, who was already spellbound, trapped by the illusion before them. Just as Ella grabbed for Lily's hand to pull her away, a booming laughter erupted from behind the window, deep and resonant, echoing off unseen walls. "Join us," it beckoned, soft yet forceful, the sweetness of it dripping with malice. "Run," Ella cried, her voice piercing the veil of terror, as she yanked Lily away from the consideration of the window. They darted towards the dimly lit doorway they hadn't noticed before. But the world was shifting again. The walls twisted and curled like smoke around them, barely holding together, threatening to dissolve. Almost instinctively, she pressed closer to Lily as if their bodies could redefine what separated them from whatever lay in wait. Each step felt heavier, the ground shifting beneath them like quicksand pulling them down. They fled, pushing through the doorway, only to face an endless corridor stretching on in both directions. The dim lights cast an eerie glow, flickering like a warning sign. "Look!" Lily's voice was now filled with urgency. A door at the end of the hallway, wooden and old, stood ajar with purple light spilling from its crack, a stark contrast to the ghastly ambience. "No! Don't you dare!" But even as the words left Ella's lips, Lily was rushing ahead, arms outstretched. Ella felt her pulse quicken, pure instinct pushing her forward to snatch her daughter back before she vanished. The moment Lily touched the frame, the door swung fully open. They were enveloped in a crimson glow, an intoxicating sweet scent wafting in. "Mommy, it's beautiful!" Lily gasped, stepping into the light. "No!" Ella tried to shout, but an invisible force wrapped around her, pulling her back. In an instant, the door slammed shut, a thunderous noise echoing in the hall. "Lily!" Panic surged through every vein in Ella's body as darkness closed around her. Shadows danced and flickered, their limbs curling like sinister fingers. Would she be able to free her daughter from whatever nightmare awaited inside that room? Or had this madness consumed them both? In that chilling moment, the laughter returned, softer, more insidious. "Join us, make a choice." The choices were unfolding like petals in a graveyard. What awaited her on the other side of this darkness? Would she possess the strength to face what lurked within, or was the cost too great? Ella's chest heaved as shadows murmured around her, their whispers turning sharper, fraying her nerves. The laughter echoed again, a cruel melody lingering in the suffocating air. She pressed her palms against the barricade formed by the closed door, the wood warm to the touch yet alive with sinister energy. It throbbed beneath her hands like a beating heart. "Mommy!" Lily's voice sliced through the turmoil, desperate and small. "I want to go back." But the door held tight, as if 1,000 hands gripped it from the other side, refusing to yield. Ella's heart raced. She forced herself to breathe, feeling the cold sweat slide down her spine. No, focus. She needed to reach her daughter. She spun around, searching for another way. The hallway stretched before her, an endless testament to despair. The walls flickered as if responding to her need for escape. Pressing herself against the nearest wall, she felt the heartbeat of the building thrumming through her. Were there secret passages, hidden doors? A way to undo this horror? "Mommy!" Lily cried again. "Help me!" Panic clawed at Ella's throat. She dashed back toward the door, the echo of that laughter taunting her, wrapping around her like a cloak of dread. She pounded her fists against the smooth wood. "Open! Please, let her out!" The door shuddered, but it stayed firm, a resolute guardian of whatever nightmare awaited inside. The air thickened again, binding her in place, but Ella knew she had to try. The floor beneath her shook, sending her staggering back. This place didn't want her here. Cold fingers of fear clutched her heart as the corridor pulsed with unnatural life. She glanced over her shoulder. The walls seemed to twist, morphing and harboring dark shapes her mind couldn't comprehend. Drawing in a shaking breath, she closed her eyes, desperately willing herself to tap into the love that had always guided her. "Lily!" Her voice cracked, breaking through the panic. "I'm here. Don't be scared." Silence enveloped her for a heartbeat. Then the door rattled as if responding to her pleas. A low snicker resounded from the depths of the hallway. It was that same haunting laughter, just behind her, close enough to smell the sourness on its breath. "Give it time." The voice purred, echoing menacingly. "She'll join us soon enough." Ella felt raw terror rise up her throat, but she couldn't let fear take over. Her daughter's spirit was more powerful than any darkness holding her captive. She scanned the corridor again, searching for anything that could aid her escape or perhaps reveal the truth hidden within those walls. Then she saw it. A glimmer flickered at the end of the hall, a shimmer in the air where a screen flickered bright. She turned toward it, the shadows swirling around her in a frenzy, almost pleading for her not to approach. Every instinct urged her to run away, but it was the only thing pulling her forward. Lily, she shouted again, her voice raw. I'm coming. As she moved toward the shimmering light, the corridor stretched and twisted, distorting her path. Was this another trap? The silence around her was deafening, pregnant with anticipation. The shimmer grew more intense. It pulsed to a rhythm of her racing heart, each beat synchronizing with the light. Was it hope, or was it a cruel trick? Every ounce of Ella's being screamed for her to turn back, but something seemed almost familiar about the light. With each hesitant step, the shadows hissed, a warning that crackled through the air. Mommy! Lily's plea cut through the haze, and Ella's gut twisted with urgency. The glow swallowed her in an instant, blinding her, and then she stumbled into the room beyond. She landed hard, the air thick with a scent that turned her stomach. Lily wasn't here, but was she close? Desperation clawed at Ella as she stood up, scanning the space around her. The room illuminated ominously with that same crimson glow. How far had Lily gone? Did she succumb to the allure, or was she lost in this twisted nightmare? Just then, a soft giggle resonated from a corner of the room, a chilling reminder of why she was there. Mommy, come play with us. Terror gripped Ella like a vice. What had become of her daughter? As the walls began to close in, she knew she had to make a choice: find Lily or flee from this madness forever. Which path would lead her to safety? And what consequences awaited her decision? Ella hesitated, caught in the malevolent gaze of the unseen eyes watching her from the shadows, waiting for her move. Ella felt the bitter taste of fear as the walls of the room closed in. Shadows flicked around her, mocking her desperation. There was no time. Lily, she screamed, forcing the words out through the suffocating dread. Where are you? The laughter echoed again, sickly sweet, and it felt like a noose tightening around her heart. Come play with us. The voice was Lily's but twisted, straining against the innocent spark she knew. Shaking, Ella fought against the pull of the darkness. Her baby was somewhere in this nightmare, and she couldn't leave without her. I won't abandon you, she shouted. As if responding to her defiance, the shadows surged forward, a monstrous tide of darkness threatening to sweep her away. Heart racing, she scanned the room, searching for any sign of Lily, any familiar sound amongst the cacophony of sinister laughter that echoed all around. Then, in a corner, she caught a glimpse of something, a shadowy figure, small and frail. Lily! Ella dashed forward, her feet pounding against the cold floor, adrenaline fueling her will. But as she approached, the figure melted into the shadow, leaving behind only that sickening laughter that tugged at her soul. Leave her alone, Ella cried, desperate now, using every ounce of courage coursing through her veins. She is not a game to you. But the room seemed to twist back, laughing, cackling. The light flickered dangerously, and Ella felt the temperature drop. The shadows gathered around her like interested spectators. You must play or lose her forever. Determination surged through her. I refuse, Ella shouted. You think you can break me? I won't play your game. As her words hung in the air, the laughter turned sinister, matching the flickering lights in its chaotic tempo. Shadows engulfed Ella, swirling around, but she clawed her way through. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes to center herself. Remember the warmth of Lily's smile, the spark in her innocent eyes. With newfound clarity, she directed her focus inward. Lily, I'm coming for you, she called. I believe in you. Stay strong. In response, she felt a flicker of warmth against the darkness, as if Lily's spirit wrapped itself around her. Ella opened her eyes and saw the crimson glow pulsing brighter, illuminating the room. That beacon of light was telling her something. No, it was guiding her. With fierce determination propelling her, Ella rushed toward the light. Lily, she screamed, pouring all her love into that single word. The shadows hissed around her, but she didn't falter. The warmth guided her, leading her straight to the glowing door from which that beautiful crimson light emanated. She pushed it open without hesitation, desperate to escape the clutches of fear and the sinister laughter surrounding her. Beyond the door was an expansive room. It felt different, somehow freer, filled with the scent of fresh air. She could hear a soft giggle again, but this time, it filled her with hope instead of dread. "Mommy!" Ella felt her heart leap. "Lily!" She zipped forward, her arms outstretched. But as she ran into the room, her daughter was there, standing with arms raised, beams of light illuminating her sweet face, her laughter bursting through the shadows that had plagued them. "Mommy!" Lily squealed, and as they embraced, Ella felt the weight of the darkness dissipate, shattering into echoes behind them. Together, they stepped toward the exit, a passage of light that promised safety. The shadows howled in fury, fighting against the mother's love that curled around Lily like a protective shield. But every step forward seemed to weaken their grasp. "Together, we're unstoppable," Ella whispered into Lily's hair. The warmth of determination surged in her. "I can't let fear win." They dashed through the exit, the light encasing them like a cocoon. "We did it. We broke free," Ella exclaimed, and as they emerged, the shadows shattered into oblivion, leaving nothing but a desolate silence behind. They stumbled onto the cool grass outside, breathless yet euphoric. The hotel loomed dark and broken behind them, a ghostly reminder of the nightmare they endured. But in new light, amid stars twinkling high above, Ella felt something exquisite: peace. "Mommy, what was that place?" Lily asked, her voice sleepy yet reassuring. Ella pulled her into a hug, feeling gratitude swell like a tidal wave. "A place we never have to go back to, my love." Together, they began walking away from that haunted hotel. A blast of wind whipped through the trees, teasing the dark secrets that remained within. But it didn't matter. What mattered was the comfort of her daughter at her side and the radiant glow of freedom around them. They had conquered the shadows and escaped the darkness. And as they stepped into the horizon, Ella held one simple truth close to her heart: they would always find their way home. Now, before leaving, you need to act. Subscribe immediately to our channel, so you don't miss more exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to help us feed the algorithm and grow our community. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. I want to hear from you about what you think happened. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans know how important it is to support the channel through these actions. Let's keep the stories coming.